Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto, I'm a photographer, and in this video I'm gonna share some impressions on this Fuji X-T50. This camera is not mine, this is on loan from Fuji Finland, or actually it's a company called Foca. They represent Fujifilm here in Finland. Big thanks to them for letting me borrow this camera. I was super excited to try out this camera because it's a long time since I last used any Fuji camera. It's more than a year. The previous Fuji camera that I used was the X-T50. It was my camera, but I sold that camera over a year ago. And this is the first Fujifilm camera that I use after I sold my X-T50. This is not gonna be a review. I just share some things that I don't like and some things that I like based on a couple of street photo sessions that I did with this camera. I'm gonna start with the things that I don't like, and then I'm gonna move on to those things that I like, so I can end this video with positive vibes. And if you are a Fuji shooter, maybe you are a Fuji fanboy, and maybe you own this X-T50, please do remember that this is only one person's opinion. And if you are a happy X-T50 shooter, I'm happy for you. So here goes. The first thing I don't like is the lack of a proper grip. This camera is very uncomfortable to hold, even for a short period of time. After some minutes, my hand feels cramped and very uncomfortable because I can't get a proper grip on this camera. And I have this relatively small and lightweight zoom lens, kit zoom lens on the camera. I don't even want to imagine how this would feel with the big or long or heavy lens. Not nice. This camera cries out for some sort of an accessory grip to make it nicer and more comfortable to hold and use. The second thing I don't like are these two dials at the front and at the back of the camera. You can press the dials to access more functions, but that feature makes these dials feel spongy and not precise at all. I really almost hate these kinds of dials. I've had some other Panasonic cameras also with this type of dials, and I really don't like them. The third thing I don't like is the viewfinder. This is not a huge big dislike, but the viewfinder is a little bit small and it's hard to see the full image area if you wear glasses like I do. And there are many other cameras with this same issue, so this is not any kind of a proprietary Fuji issue at all. And one other thing related to the poor grip. I managed to unintentionally knock the exposure compensation dial, and I shot a few frames that were too dark or too bright before I realized that I had unintentionally dialed in some exposure compensation. And I wish there was a lock on the compensation dial, or maybe if I had an external grip or accessory grip on this camera, maybe I wouldn't have this problem. But as it is a problem, at least with my hands. And I also managed to hit the Q menu button, which is on the thumb rest, unintentionally, that too, because of the poor position of my hand when I'm holding this camera. And one more dislike before I go to the likes. The memory card is really difficult. Oh, there's no card in the camera. Let's put in a card like so. The memory card is really difficult to get out of the camera. And I also dropped the card a few times while I was trying to get it out. Before I go to the likes, let's talk about these film simulations. There is even a dedicated dial for them on the left side of the viewfinder. I think these film simulations are awesome, and it's been a really clever marketing move from Fuji. Of course, they don't look like film, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. Nothing really looks like film like the film itself. But for me, this dedicated dial is pretty much useless. I always shoot RAW and then I choose my preferred film simulation in Lightroom, which can emulate these simulations really well. So I wish this dial was customizable and I could use it for something else than these film simulations. I fully understand the purpose of this dial, and I suppose there are so many younger photographers, younger than me, who like to play around with these simulations, and for them this dial is probably really cool thing to have. There's also another thing that puzzles me with these film simulations. There are already quite a few of them, but of course we consumers, we want more. And I wonder how many more Fujifilm can come up with that they can call film simulation and that are different enough when we put them side by side and also look pleasing to our eyes. But like I said, it's been a fantastic marketing move from Fuji. They took full advantage of their film past, their heritage, and film simulations, they sound so much better than picture profile or photo style or LUT that Panasonic is now trying to push. And I hope they succeed, but LUT, it sounds super boring compared to film simulations. And now the likes that you all have been waiting for. The first like is the tilt screen. For photography, it is a winner and super nice compared to a flippy screen. It's also very inconspicuous when I'm on the street. I can shoot it like I was using a traditional waist level viewfinder on a medium format Hasselblad or something, and nobody even notices that I'm taking pictures. Super nice feature for a photocentric camera. The next like is the exterior design. This is a really pretty camera, even in silver. And this is a big compliment coming from me because I usually dislike silver color on a camera. I prefer my cameras all black. But this one, this looks really handsome even in this color scheme. Even with this silver top. Really pretty looking camera. And I suppose a lot of people buy this camera only for the looks. It looks good when it's hanging around your neck. And another thing that I like is this focus mode switch that is on the camera body and not on the lens. Because this way it works with every lens, even if the lens doesn't have any switches. For example, with the Sony, you have to go into the menu to choose manual focus if the lens doesn't have the switch. The next like is the compact size and lightweight. This would be a superb travel camera, for example, because of its relatively small size and lightweight. And also the kit lens is really nice. I really like this 16 to 50 millimeter f2.8 f4.8 kit lens. It's lightweight, relatively compact, and looks like it's optically quite solid too, even with this 40 megapixel sensor. However, I have to say that I wish the grip part was a little bit more substantial, and I don't think the size or weight would suffer too much if there was a little bit beefier grip on the right side of the camera, like my Sony a6700 for example. It's about the same size as this, but it has so much better grip. The next like is the image quality. 40 megapixels, plenty of detail, plenty of sharpness and crispness. But it requires a good lens because the pixel density is quite high on this sensor. This better kit lens option seems to handle it quite nicely. I don't have anything to complain about this kit lens regarding the sharpness. But I have a feeling that the cheaper kit lens option is not gonna cut it if you want to extract the full image quality out of this sensor. My overall impression is probably a mild disappointment. I wanted to like this camera much more than I ended up liking it after using it. It's the poor grip that is my main complaint. It's driving me nuts every time I'm using this camera that I can't get a proper grip. And now that I think back, my X-T30 had the same exact problem, and that camera became so much better when I added a grip to it. And I'm sure this camera would also become so much nicer with an accessory grip. It's a bit of a shame because I really like the image quality, I like the pictures that I get with this camera, and with a small prime lens this would be a fantastic street camera tool because of the small size and light weight. And if this was black, it would also be a little bit more inconspicuous. Now it kinda screams attention a little bit at least, because it looks so nice and retro that people tend to look at it, which is not good if I'm out there shooting street. But that would be easy to rectify. Just get the black version. Is there a black version? I think there must be a black version also available. But anyway, these are my thoughts on the Fuji X-T50. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much, and I definitely hope to see you soon in the next video.